Luxury is not the opposite of poverty, it is the opposite of vulgarity. That was a quote from Coco Chanel, but it could easily have come from Bernard Arnault, the man who turned that philosophy into a $230 billion fortune. You see, the luxury fashion industry has impacted how we view wealth, how we display status, and even how we define ourselves. Now, many of you already know that luxury handbags are expensive. However, there is a good chance you're underestimating just how deliberately these brands engineered desire for products that cost pennies to make but sell for thousands. I mean, Arnault himself said, "I don't sell handbags, I sell dreams." It just goes to show that he knew very early on that perception was more valuable than product, and that creating artificial scarcity could turn leather and thread into status symbols worth more than cars. From psychological manipulation to monopolistic control, Bernard Arnault and the luxury families are undeniably the architects of modern consumer culture. Now, our story begins with Bernard Arnault. He was a man born into comfortable wealth. However, he was really smart and ruthlessly ambitious. He was born in 1949 in Roubaix, France, to a construction company owner. His family was well off, but not aristocratic. That background gave Bernard access to good education, but not to the world of high fashion. He attended a prestigious École Polytechnique, studying engineering, and joined his father's construction business in 1971. By 1976, he had taken control of the company. But Bernard wasn't interested in building houses. He was interested in building empires. Life for Bernard would have been comfortable as a successful construction executive. However, things changed dramatically in 1984 when he acquired Financier, a bankrupt luxury goods company that owned Christian Dior. You see, Bernard saw something others didn't. France was selling off state-owned luxury brands after years of economic troubles. Bernard borrowed $15 million and bought the entire company for just $80 million. Everyone thought he was crazy. Christian Dior was bleeding money, and luxury fashion seemed like a dying industry. But Bernard understood something crucial. Luxury wasn't about products. It was about psychology, and he was about to prove it. Now, in this luxury world, one of his first major moves came in 1987 when he began acquiring shares in LVMH, a newly merged company combining Louis Vuitton and Moët Hennessy. The merger was troubled, with the two founding families fighting for control. Bernard saw opportunity in chaos. He quietly bought shares, playing the families against each other. By 1989, he had gained control with 43% of shares, becoming CEO of LVMH. He was 40 years old and controlled the world's largest luxury goods company. The founding families were furious, but Bernard had outmaneuvered them completely. This became his signature move. Identify vulnerable luxury brands, acquire them cheaply, and consolidate control. By the 1990s, Bernard had perfected what he called the star brands strategy. He would acquire heritage brands with history and prestige, then transform them into profit machines. He bought Givenchy in 1988, Kenzo em 1993, Celine em 1996, Marc Jacobs, Fendi, Emilio Pucci, and dozens more. Each acquisition followed the same pattern. Keep the name and heritage, fire everyone, install LVMH ex-executives, and increase prices dramatically. By 2000, LVMH controlled over 60 luxury brands. Bernard had created a monopoly on aspiration itself. But here's where Arnault's genius really showed. You see, while other companies competed on quality or innovation, Bernard competed on perception. He understood that luxury wasn't about craftsmanship anymore. It was about scarcity, exclusivity, and psychological manipulation. He pioneered several tactics that every luxury brand now copies. First, artificial scarcity. Hermès, for example, doesn't sell their famous Birkin bags in stores. You can't just buy one. You have to build a purchase history by buying other Hermès products first, sometimes spending $50. Second, price increases as marketing. Every year, luxury brands raise prices by 5% to 15%, far above inflation. A Louis Vuitton Speedy bag cost $200 in 1990. Today, third, logo maximization. In the 1990s and 2000s, LVMH brands covered everything in logos. Louis Vuitton's monogram canvas became ubiquitous. Dior's logo appeared on everything from bags to sunglasses. Why? Because luxury consumers don't just want quality, they want recognition. They're buying a visible signal of wealth. Bernard Arnault turned his customers into walking billboards, advertising his brands everywhere they went, and people paid thousands for the privilege. Now let's talk about the economics, because this is where luxury brands become truly obscene. A Louis Vuitton canvas bag that retails for $2,000 costs approximately $50 to manufacture. That's a 4,000% markup. A Hermès Birkin bag that sells for $15,000 costs around $800 in materials and labor. The rest is pure profit margin. Luxury brands typically operate at 60% to 80% profit margins compared to 5% to 10% for normal retailers. They're the most profitable businesses in the world, selling products that cost almost nothing to make for prices that rival cars. But behind all this wealth was a darker reality. Luxury brands built their empires on exploitation. Many luxury goods are manufactured in Italy, but not in Italian fashion houses. They're made in sweatshops in Tuscany where undocumented Chinese immigrants worked 16-hour days for poverty wages. In 2007, a fire in a Chinese-run factory near Florence killed 7 workers who were making bags for luxury brands. The building was a death trap with locked exits. Investigations revealed that made in Italy often means made by Chinese immigrants in Italy under illegal conditions. The brands claim ignorance, but they know exactly what happens. They just don't care. Cheap labor protects their profit margins. The most dramatic demonstration of luxury's power came with the rise of social media in the 2010s. Instagram, YouTube, and especially TikTok transformed luxury consumption. Suddenly, displaying wealth wasn't limited to your social circle. You could broadcast it globally. Luxury brands exploded. LVMH's revenue went from $30 billion in 2010 to $86 billion in 2023. Bernard Arnault personnel wealth went from $40 billion to $230 billion, briefly making him the richest person in the world, richer than Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, all from selling handbags, scarves, and perfume. By 2020, luxury had become fully democratized and simultaneously more exclusive. Brands introduced entry-level products like $300 keychains and $500 phone cases so middle-class consumers could access the brand. But they also created ultra-exclusive products like $300,000 handbags for the ultra-wealthy. This two-tier system maximized profits. The middle class buys logo-covered items to signal aspiration. They actually wealthy buy understated pieces to signal they're above logos. Both groups are manipulated, just differently. Bernard Arnault also pioneered celebrity partnerships that created unprecedented hype. In 2017, Louis Vuitton hired Virgil Abloh, a streetwear designer, as artistic director. Abloh brought supreme-style hype to luxury fashion. Limited releases, collaborations with artists like Kanye West, and social media campaigns created a frenzy. Today, Bernard Arnault's LVMH empire includes 75 brands across fashion, cosmetics, jewelry, watches, and alcohol. The company employs over 200,000 people worldwide and generates $86 billion in annual revenue. Arnault personally is worth $230 billion. Making him one of the richest humans in history. His children are being groomed to take over different divisions of the empire, ensuring dynastic control. The Arnault family will dominate luxury for generations. Meanwhile, the Hermès family, descendants of Thierry Hermès, who founded the company in 1837, has fiercely guarded their independence. Unlike other luxury brands that sold to conglomerates, Hermès remains family-controlled. When Bernard Arnault tried to acquire Hermès in 2010 by secretly buying 23% of shares, the family fought back viciously. They created a holding company controlling 67% of shares, making a hostile takeover impossible. The Hermès family understood that independence was their ultimate luxury. They don't answer to shareholders or conglomerates. They control their destiny and their reward. Each family member is worth billions, and Hermès is now worth over $220 billion. So what's the secret to luxury's power? I think it's several things working together. First, they exploit human psychology's desire for status and belonging. Humans are social creatures who judge each other by visible signals. Luxury brands monetized that instinct. Second, they created artificial scarcity in a world of abundance. When you can manufacture infinite products, making them rare is the only way to maintain value. Third, they understood that price itself is marketing. Higher prices signal exclusivity and quality, even when quality hasn't changed. Fourth, they built monopolies through consolidation, eliminating competition and controlling supply. And fifth, they exploited social media to amplify status signaling globally, turning customers into unpaid marketers. But we have to ask ourselves, is this kind of manipulation ethical? Luxury brands would argue they're simply meeting demand and creating jobs. Critics would argue they're exploiting psychological vulnerabilities, promoting wasteful consumption, and increasing wealth inequality by making the rich-poor divide visible through consumer goods. I think the truth is clear. Luxury brands engineer desire for products nobody needs, using tactics that prey on insecurity and status anxiety. Legal doesn't mean ethical. And when your business model depends on making people feel inadequate unless they buy your product, that's manipulation, not value creation. The man who invented the $10,000 handbag is now worth $230 billion. The bags still cost $50 to make, and millions of people still line up to buy them, paying thousands for leather and thread because a logo tells the world they've made it. The real luxury. Understanding you've been manipulated and choosing not to play the game. If you made it this far, leave a handbag emoji in the comments. And please, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.